What's going on YouTube? It's your host Bruce GNT back with another video. This one is going to be the official Bruce versus TikTok episode 1. All right, I've been trying to set things up, try to see like how it's going to work out, and I think I finally got it. So bear with me. But first I want to say, I know you see it on the screen. I'm talking to my fellas. I know you see it on the screen. All right, I know you see it. I see it too. I was looking at it too. That's not what we're here for. Look at me. Focus. We're here to pay attention, to listen to the stupidity or the knowledge that she may be spitting. That's what we're here for. It may be hard to focus, but I need you to pay attention. All right, let's go.
Holding up the Mexican flag, but nobody wants to live in Mexico. If we wouldn't want to live in Mexico, then why the fuck do the tios, the señores, the men, and the women too? They be working here for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. They just live in one room sharing it with a bunch of dudes. They send all their money back so they can build houses for their families, and they can't wait. They're just counting down the minutes in a year until when they can actually go back. Even las familias that live here, buying houses over there too. Every Mexican that I know own their houses here. They buy a house in Mexico too. They're building it or they're already bought it. So yes, nobody wants to live in the United States. I was born in the United States and I don't want to live in the United States. The next 5 years, I'm moving back to Mexico. Yes, we do want to live in Mexico. The only thing is that we're just making money here so we can actually go back to live in Mexico. Bitch, ain't nobody trying to live in this fucking sweatshop of a country with a Gucci belt on. The fuck?
Like I said, focus, fellas, focus. For those of you that don't know, right? I come from an immigrant background. Father's Thai, mother's Guyanese. You know, Guyana is in South America. Thailand is in Asia, Southeast Asia to be more exact. So I grew up around family members that were all immigrants. You know, I have friends that were mostly all immigrants while I grew up in Brooklyn, right? And to be fair, she's not lying. But what happens is that she's conflating two things. She's trying to say that the ones that are like packed like sardines, living in the same room and everything like that, that they're the ones coming here working for 30, 40, 50, which if it takes that long to build a house, I don't know what to say. She's making sense that those are the same people as the ones that are going back building houses and whatnot. They're not the same people. Those are two different people. The ones that are living in one room and everything like that, they're the ones that are staying because they left because their life in Mexico, for whatever reason, wasn't the best. The ones that are going back building houses or sending money to build houses and everything like that, because I have family members that do that, it's two things. One, they live comfortably in Mexico already. They came here for better opportunities to make even more money so they could build a house even faster. And yes, some of them do take that money and everything like that and move back home after a certain amount of time. Or they use that as like a vacation house. I got family members that do it. I got friends that do it. There's a very small percentage of people that move here, spend all this time here, and then move back. It's not almost all of them. It's less than 50. It's less than 20. It might be 10, and even still that's pushing it. A great deal of them are not doing that. Why do you think they have people that have first, second, third, fourth, fifth generation Mexican? It takes 5 generations to build a house? No, they're staying here because they want to be here. The vast majority of the people that are coming here, especially the illegal ones that are coming here, because think about it. If they had the means to come here legally, they're more than likely the ones that are sending money back home, that are building houses so they can move back. They're using the economic opportunities of America to fund what they got going on back home. Trust me, the ones that are coming here legally, more often than not, are the ones that are staying here permanently. And not just Mexicans. I'm talking about the Asians, the South Americans, everything like that. Everything in between. That's what they do. And she's talking about, well, everyone I know that's Mexican. Yeah, you probably know like, what, 15 people out of the millions of Mexicans out there? Your family probably came to this country under good circumstances as opposed to the dozens and millions of others that did not. She knows damn well that these riots are not for people that just want to come here, make money, then move back. No, they're for people that actually want to come here and stay. And when I say I've met people of many different backgrounds, all across the West Indies, I've met people that literally send money back home, either just for family members to take care of them, or to build houses for the family members, and they don't move back. They stay here, or some of them do move back, but it's a very small portion. I cannot stress that enough. Very small portion. I'll talk to a lot of people, and when I ask them, hey, would you move back home? No. They don't want to move back home. So it looks like we have another one, right? Also with this one's a little bit special. She has a follow-up to this video, and we're going to go over both. So I'm going to go over this one, talk about it, then I'm going to go over the next one, then talk about that one.
I say this, we do not move to America because we think it's a better country. We move here because it's a little less worse than our other countries. Because you're stupid to think that we moved to this country for some hot dogs and some baseball. We have better vibes, music, food, culture, history, literally all of the above. We just moved here because we are looking to make more money and offer a better chance for our families. Did you know that the minimum wage a day, not an hour, a day in Mexico is not even 15 American dollars? Not even 15 American dollars. Right now with $15 in San Diego, I could go maybe buy a matcha and half of a granola bar, honey. If you support ICE, you support people getting destroyed. If you support families getting destroyed, I hope you rot in hell. And I will see you there, babes.
I'm not going to rot in hell. I'm going to rot in hell. But most likely not going to do that either. I support ICE because guess what? I could call my family members right now that came to this country the right way. And they're not going through any issues right now, you know. And if they are, I'll hold my corner, right? And I'll take that L. I'll legitimately take that L. Let me hold your hand when I say this, right? If that was the case, you would have went to Canada. If you believe that this country is just a little bit less worse than Mexico. But you didn't. You didn't. You came here. And you're going to stay here. Because you're not going to leave. You're not going to leave. We didn't come here for the hot dogs and whatnot. Yeah, you came from the melting pot experience of the fact that there's so many different cultures that combine into the U.S., and for the most part, they pretty much accept it. It's funny that you're living here, enjoying all the luxuries of being here, and then you're like, yeah, this place fucking sucks. And I'm not trying to rag on her too much, but it's like, look, if you feel a way about what's going on, sure, that's fine. But don't try to internalize it and turn it into something else and be like, oh, you think people really want to be here? It's like, if you didn't want to be here, so why are you here? You could have went to another country.
My name is Montse. I am from Mexico City, and I moved to the U.S. about 10 years ago. If you're a liberal baddie, just like me, please leave a blue comment in the section because my comment section has been flooded by Republicans lately. I'm not really sure why I'm on here today. I think I have a lot on my mind. I want to rant. It's been a really hard week, so take what you want from this, I guess. I recently made a video about how even though in the US we can make more money and probably get better opportunities, we still don't think it's a better country compared to our home countries. Well, my comment sections are now flooded with people saying that a negative and a negative is a plus. So I am saying the US is better. People are saying I should go back to my country. People are saying that I should go up against the cartel and speak up again in my own country so that I can have better wages in my own country and that I could just move back. And honestly, I was fighting these people in the comment sections for a really long time, but it just honestly became too much. I was kindly reminded this week that stupid, ignorant people do not want to learn, and we shouldn't spend our time and effort trying to teach these people. Because you and I know that 2 + 2 is 4, but if you're consistently trying to tell that to someone who thinks it's 5, they're never going to get it. I'm proud to see so many white people speak up. I've seen so many people that are in the military families, people that acknowledge their privilege speak up, and all I gotta say is thank you.
I don't really want to pause this. I don't want this to be a thing, but oh my fucking God, I hate this word privilege. All I'm hearing is you guys realize that you have better circumstances than me and you're better than me. And thank you for acknowledging that. Shut the fuck up. Like not towards her person. Well, right now I am. But it's just, I hate hearing that shit. It's so annoying. It is so annoying.
Thank you, because even though your voice isn't going to be spread all around the United States, someone is going to watch your video and say, these people look at me, maybe I should change the way I'm thinking. To the Latinos out there that are saying, oh, we came here legally, why are you coming here illegally? That's not fair, blah, 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 blah. How could you go against your own community? The community that also is coming to this country to have a better job, to have better opportunities, and most importantly, to be able to send back money at home because we know the conditions at home are not that good.
This is the problem with a lot of, and I don't like putting it on just one group of people, but I have to in this case. This is the problem with a lot of liberal mindsets, right? They have this idea of how can you turn against your people? When we let that ideology spread throughout the culture, that's how we have issues when no one can hold the other one accountable, because it's like, well, you can't speak out against me. Why would you do that? Are you really even black? And I say black because that's what's going on in our own community right now. You say anything about the black community, how the culture is not conducive for us to be better than what we were the day before. They call you Uncle Tom. They call you a coon. They say you tap dancing for white men. They say all this bullshit nonsense. And then you're just sitting there like, wait a minute, I'm literally calling out stupidity in my face done by my people because I love my people. And the biggest form of love, or one of the biggest forms of love, is holding them accountable because you don't want them to be led astray. So essentially what you're saying is that when you see someone that looks like you or is of your nationality or your ethnicity in this case, to just not say anything. Why are you turning against them? But it's funny because those credits don't translate. Because let's just say there's a white person doing something bad and they didn't hold their person accountable. Now you're sitting there like, oh, you see? Because she literally said it right here. I'm happy that white people are speaking up. So in other words, you dictate when it's right for people to go against their own people, right? With that mindset. That's essentially what you're saying. That there are times when you do go against your own people, but there's times when you don't. So what are those times? What are the left and right lateral limits? I need to know.
Babe, let me hold your hand when I say this. You will never be one of them. Never. As someone that came to this country legally via a work visa, I cannot comprehend that argument. There is room for a lot of us, and no one is benefiting from the benefits unless you're an actual citizen.
Yes, there's room for a lot of us, but guess what? Certain states have put things in place so that people that came here legally, whether it was through asylum, which even with that's not necessarily illegal, but they didn't come through the right channels, right? Where they came here not the correct way and they were benefiting. Look what's going on in California, because it's funny she brought up San Diego, but she's avoiding the fact that California had something set up in place to where they were getting Medicare in California. They were setting them up to be able to have houses in California. But yet we have people on the streets right now in California on Skid Row and nothing for them. Now, I will say that they have been putting in measures to make sure that the homelessness isn't that bad, but even still, how are you taking care of other people before you take care of your own? That's my biggest argument. In New York, what was going on over there? Eric Adams even said himself. He said, what are we going to do with people that cannot provide for themselves? Okay, we have to provide for them because we're a sanctuary city. And guess what they were doing? Giving them credit, debit cards, putting up in hotels and whatnot. They were getting mail. And not all of them were bad. I'm not going to sit up here and make saying all of them were bad. Truly not. But there were some of them that legit came here and they did not want to work. So you're going to sit here and really lie and be like, oh, well, the only people that really benefit are the ones that are citizens. And then this fucking idea that because you, I don't know, side with someone that looks different than you, like you're trying to be like them. I don't know. Maybe I just agree with what they think and it has nothing to do with the color of my skin. For people that always talk about things like people are racist, y'all make things about race so goddamn much. It's like I'm trying to be like them because I have a similar idea point and whatnot. This whole narrative is just stupid.
Because let me remind you, an illegal immigrant actually cannot benefit from these benefits because they don't have a social security number. So no tax returns, no applying for Medicaid, no food stamps, no getting any COVID reimbursements that we got a couple years back. None of that. To me, it's simple. The people benefiting from illegal immigrants are the actual citizens of the country, but people don't seem to understand that. And if you made it to the end of this video, thank you. Thank you for hearing me out. It's been a really tough week. I'm sending a big hug to all my liberal baddies out there. Don't stop fighting this fight.
I will say I do like her nails. And she brings up a really good point and something that I've been talking about personally, right? Where it's like all these people that advocate for these illegals to stay here and the things that they keep talking about, right? And that what they keep bringing up is how who's going to do this? Who's going to do these jobs? Who's going to pick the fruit? Who's going to build the houses? And like, you do know the reason why it's set up like that is because these companies, these corporations don't want to pay people the proper wage. And then they see an influx of people that can't advocate for themselves for a multitude of different reasons. And they say, hey, you guys want to work? Hey, look, I can only pay you $5 an hour, but it's a good way to get the ball rolling. And you know what it sounds like? Because we all took history, right? We all know why the Civil War was fought. It wasn't because of slaves, because the Union wanted to cripple the South, because the states themselves were becoming more powerful and they didn't want to listen to the federal government. You know, their pockets were getting fat and they said, you can't tell us what to do. We bringing in all the money. So the Union said, okay, we're going to cripple you. You know what we're going to do? Take away your biggest way of making money, slaves. And then the South said, fuck no, you're not doing that. That's how we make our money. You're going to destroy our economy. Fast forward to now, the very same defenses I'm hearing from a lot of these, you know, liberal people and a lot of the politicians is that, well, this is going to hurt our economy. And all I'm hearing is like, isn't this the same shit? Slavery with extra steps? Indentured servitude? You want a different class of people that can't advocate for themselves to get paid a lower wage because no one else wants to do it because the wage is so low. And I'm sitting here wondering, is no one else hearing this?
So as a Russian that grew up in Russia, I'm a little confused what people are protesting about in LA right now. In Russia, there are laws and you have to follow them And if you don't follow them, there are going to be consequences for not following them. So I guess my Russian mind can't really wrap my head around if you came to any country illegally, you may be deported, and you're most likely going to be deported. So again, what are people protesting about? I don't understand. It's not like you can choose which laws you want to follow and which laws you don't want to follow. I also feel like by not reinforcing these rules, you're basically telling the whole world that you can come here illegally and do whatever you want and nothing's gonna happen. And it's like all countries have their own rules how to get there legally. You can't just come to Russia illegally and just stay there. You can't just come to Japan illegally and stay there. So if you can let me know what's the difference with America, because I'm just genuinely confused. And I just genuinely want to know.
I'm also confused because, and this is how I know some of y'all don't travel, right? When you go to any country, right, they give you like little slips and you have to write out where you're going, how long you're going to be staying and whatnot, and all these different details when you're going to that country. Because guess what? You can't overstay your welcome. You can't just stay there. Because in certain countries, they'll find your ass and be like, okay, you ain't left yet. That's what happens when you go to other countries. By plane anyway. When it comes to cruising and whatnot, a little bit different. But that's what happens. And she's right. Other countries don't allow that. Look at what happens in Poland. You try to go there illegally. They don't play. They don't play. Countries that have such lax borders when it comes to the, like, you know, who gets to come there legally and illegally. One of them being Ireland. Yeah, the economy is trash. The people are unhappy. There's a lot of civil unrest. You know, and she brought up a really good point, right? When you let this slide, right, you're showing the rest of the world, hey, you could come here legally. Because a lot of what people are advocating for, they're saying no one's illegal on stolen land, which is incorrect. If they're talking about the whole California part and everything like that, where the Mexicans are talking about, hey, look, this is our land first. Yeah, we beat y'all in war. That's essentially what happened. Let's just say we make it so, okay, you know what? They're here. They're not doing anything illegally, because that's what a lot of people are advocating for. They're saying, hey, look, they're not doing anything wrong. You know, they may have come here illegally, but they're okay. They're not breaking any laws and anything like that. They're paying taxes. Okay, cool. We set up that precedent that, hey, look, we'll leave you alone for the most part if you just come here and do what you're supposed to do. You do know that people in countries, they converse, right? So if you think for a second that they're not going to tell their family members, hey, yo, if you come here and do what you got to do, you can come here. They won't bother you. They'll leave you alone. And then what happens is that with enough chatter, because it's going to spread around, social media is very big, all these people, the good and the bad and the ugly, are going to come here and do it the incorrect way, because we had set a standard saying, hey, look, we have a legal way of doing things, but if you do it illegally, there's not much repercussions, which is going to break down the whole legal standard that we have set place. And all we have is a whole bunch of people coming in and out of the U.S., and we don't know their motives. We don't know what they have in store for us, and there's no way for us to track them. Because what's going to happen is that more and more people are going to come, they're going to expect the same standard, and we're going to have to uphold it. If we went by that same dumbass logic, you know. The other thing that she brought up that kind of rang for me was that she said how you can't just choose the laws that you want to follow and don't want to follow, which is funny because they're talking about how they're taking them away without due process. And it's like, wait a minute. You came here illegally, which was essentially skipping due process. And now that we're getting rid of you, and I'm not saying that I don't advocate for due process. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that if due process isn't, done, it's like, okay, I mean, it's what it is. And now you're hollering about due process. So let me get it straight. You did the wrong thing to come here. We're trying to get your ass out, and you're like, whoa. There's a proper way to do this. Ain't that some shit? You came here the wrong way, didn't do it the proper way. We're trying to get you out, and you're like, you have to do it the proper way. You can't make this shit up. It's crazy.
You guys aren't fighting because you're passionate. You guys are fighting because you love to fight President Trump. And you Democrats don't want to come to terms with that. But here's how I know that I'm right. In Minnesota this week, there was a raid at a property where ICE and federal agents got involved, because that's the other part of their job, is rescuing people. Liberals didn't do a lick of investigation or research, so they of course assumed that it was ICE arresting and detaining illegal immigrants. But what actually was it? It was not only a mission to shut down drug trafficking, but also rescuing victims of human trafficking. The street value of this meth is estimated to be anywhere around $25 million. What else did they find? 8 humans that were being trafficked, who are now rescued because of ICE and federal agents. They also figured out that the leader is tied to no other than the Mexican cartel. But because protesters didn't want to comprehend any of this, they started assaulting and attacking and trying to throw things as per usual at these federal agents. So now they've been arrested, and not for trying to speak their mind and stand up for what they believe in. They are being charged with obstruction of justice, obstructing a federal investigation, especially with drug and human trafficking. That is how I know you guys don't care about what you're fighting for, because you have no idea what you're fighting about.
I did see a news report on that, and I'm going to put that, like, maybe a little snippet or maybe a little article right there in the video.
The U.S. Attorney's Office is releasing new information about federal raids that sparked this clash near a Mexican restaurant in Minneapolis last week. Court documents revealed the discovery of 900 pounds of meth in a Burnsville storage unit prompted this highly scrutinized federal raid on Lake Street in Minneapolis. A criminal complaint filed Monday says the operation on June 3rd was one of 8 executed across the state. Investigators estimate $22 million in meth was seized in Burnsville alone. Warrants were also carried out at homes and businesses in Bloomington, Inver Grove Heights, Lakeville, and Northfield. According to investigators, those searches turned up gold-plated guns and portraits of fictional character Tony Montana from Scarface. Authorities believe it's evidence of an international crime ring operating in Minnesota.
Minneapolis police should not be working with federal agents. We are a sanctuary city. The community will not allow it.
Just instantly, got violent, and, people started trying to stop them.
And I keep saying this, right? I'm no fan of Trump, but one thing I can peep out and I can see is that they're going to blame this motherfucker for everything. And honestly, I don't blame them sometimes, because I've said it many times and I'm saying it right here again. He needs to shut the fuck up and stop saying half the dumb shit that he says, because he says a lot of stuff that makes me just go, mother, why? Why are you saying that? When it comes to Trump, oh my God, they could blame this man for anything. But there's something they blaming this man for and just like, God damn, he ain't the cause of all this shit.
Out. You don't do a lick of research, yet you're the first people on the street inciting mass amounts of chaos. Someone who truly cared and had a passion to make things better in the world would be organized, not chaotic. Then you go to downtown LA. What do you know? The sheriff, the chief of the LAPD, everyone's coming out saying, no, protesters started this. That's why the National Guard was deployed. The chief of LAPD has made it very crystal clear that Gavin Newsom is lying, and that they asked President Trump for extra help because the protests were getting out of control. And I don't see one of you taking accountability for anything, because when someone asks you to realize your party is behaving like animals, they'll just throw January 6th in your face. How about this? And I will post the proof. I will Venmo $20 to the first Democrat who can come up on this comment section and say, our party is kind of losing full right now. We're kind of all over the place. We're not doing the right thing right now. We're actually ruining it for immigrants. When we behave like crazy people, people aren't really going to listen to our cause, which then in turn causes less people to pay attention to actually what you're trying to fight for. The first Democrat to come up on this page and be able to admit that, I will Venmo you $20 right now as I sit here. There are only so many things in this country that you can deflect back onto Trump. You do it time and time again. Everything and its mother is Donald Trump's fault. And when you continue to play the boy who cried wolf, people lose trust in you. Because guess what? 66% of Americans are in favor of the deportations happening right now, which is higher than it was before President Trump was elected. And that's not because America is becoming more hateful. It's because they are becoming more scared of you. You are making President Trump look like an angel because of your own behavior. And instead of backtracking and trying again the right way, you'll just blame him for that too. When it gets to the point where your party is interfering with actual rescue missions, that's when you know that's not President Trump's fault. That is your own, and your own alone. And you need to realize that a lot of people in your party are not fighting because they actually care. No, They're fighting because they hate President Trump, and anything he says, they will be the first people boots on the ground to protest the exact opposite. And a lot of you, a sad amount of you, are falling for it.
She's absolutely right. There are bad actors out there that don't like Trump, that are just going to protest anything that he does no matter what. And the ones that are honestly a little bit more ignorant, they're trying to understand what's going on, they're just going to follow suit because they know that they also don't like Trump, but they're less informed than those that are actually going out there causing havoc. She pretty much said it all. And to expand on what she said about you're hurting the immigrants that you're trying to protect, yes, because the one thing I'm advocating for is that they had to come in the right way, because when we have just a whole bunch of people that come in the wrong way, these people cannot advocate for themselves, right? They cannot go get better jobs because there's a language barrier, and or they do not have a social security card, so they cannot get those jobs that will be better for them and their family. And guess what? When they do get jobs, they get to get treated any which way because, like I said before, they can't get advocated for because there's nothing protecting them. They're not citizens. So instead of people trying to keep the status quo of just letting illegals come here and no one's illegal on stolen land and you should just leave them alone, they should find ways to advocate for them in the best way, i.e. having them come in the correct way in doing it so that they don't get taken advantage of, because that's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. So when these people are advocating for them to just leave them alone or let them just stay here and everything like that, and they're not looking at the real ways to get them citizenship so they can have better lives and get better paying jobs, you're just trying to keep the status quo. And like I said before, early in the video, sounds like slavery with extra steps. But that's just me. Well, guys, you already know the drill. That's the end of this video. Thank you for being with me on Bruce versus TikTok, the very first episode. I will be coming out with more. I might do a weekly thing. And I might tackle different topics. This topic just happened to be, related to the, the ICE protests and everything like that. And I'm gonna do another video delving more deep into that. But this is all I have for now. So hold on, that'll be coming soon. Leave a comment. Tell me how you feel. Let me know if I was wrong. Let me know if I'm, I'm not above reproach. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm bugging or if I'm missing out on something. I appreciate all feedback. And subscribe if you want to see more. Peace.